we continue our exploration of the meaning of stranger, foreigner in the Bible, and see what God expected his people Israel to do with them. And we notice that there are two types of foreigners. Those that are outside, that they meet on the way, and those that are within, that are already part of the people of Israel, but they are still foreigners. And we find that globally, the issue of who is a foreigner is not determined by nationality, obviously, because at that time it was irrelevant. There was nothing like passport or, it was not a matter of skin color either. What was determinant was the faith. These people were the ones that would be described later on as Gentiles, people that were not of Israel's faith. And usually they had a different language too. So let's look at the example of the Gibeonites today and what happened. Is in Joshua chapter 9, Joshua was advancing and all the kings were leaguing against Joshua and his people. So all the kings that were beyond the Jordan in the hill country and lowland, all along the coast of the Great Sea towards Lebanon, that is the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, heard that they were coming. And they gathered together with one accord to fight Joshua and Israel. But as we are told in that chapter, the Gibeonites were really fearing because Jericho had already been vanquished, Ai was vanquished, and they were next. And so they were fearing. And when this heard that what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, they on their part decided to save themselves. But they acted with cunning. They went and prepared provisions, took worn-out sacks for their donkeys, and white skins worn out and torn and mended, with worn out, patched sandals on their feet, worn out clothes, and all their provisions were dry and moldy. They were not to be used. It was for deceit. So they went to Joshua in the camp at Gilgal and said to him and the Israelites, "Well, we have come from a far country to get a treaty." But the Israelites said to the Hivites, "Perhaps you live among us." That is, in that area they were conquering. "Then how can we make a treaty with you?" And they said to Joshua, "No, we are your servants." And Joshua said to them, "Who are you? Where do you come from?" Is what I hear every day. As soon as I open my mouth here, "Who are you? Where do you come from?" So they said to Joshua, "We are your servants. Your servants have come from a very far country because of the name of the Lord your God. We have heard a report of him and of all that he did in Egypt and all that he did to the two kings of the Amorites beyond the Jordan, King Sihon of Heshbon and King Og of Bashan, who lived in Ashtaroth. So our elders and all the inhabitants of our country said to us, 'Take provisions in your hand for the journey. Go to meet them and say to them, "We are your servant. Come now, let's make a treaty. Here is our bread. See, it was still warm when we took it from our houses as our food for the journey on the day we set out to come to you. But now see, it's dry and moldy. These white skins were new when we filled them, and see, they are burst. And see, garments and sandals of ours are worn out from the long journey." So the leaders partook of their provisions and did not ask direction from the Lord. And this is crucial. They were to ask from God because they didn't know these people. They had no intelligence. It was not existing at that time. They were completely unable to know whether they were telling the truth or not. So Joshua made peace with them, guaranteeing their lives by a treaty. And the leaders of the congregation, the Israelites, swore an oath to them. But then what happened? 3 days after that, after the treaty, they heard that they were their neighbors and were living just by the side. So the Israelites set out and reached their cities on the 3rd day. Now their cities were Gibeon, Shephirah, Beeroth, and Kiriath Jearim. But the Israelites did not attack them because the leaders had sworn to them by the Lord. Then all the congregations murmured and said, "Come on, we have to attack them. They are next on our line." The leaders said, "No, we have sworn to them. This is what we are going to do. We are going to let them live so that wrath may not come upon us from God. But they are going to be hewers of wood, drawers of water for the congregation." And so Joshua called these people and said to them, "Why did you deceive us, saying we are very far from you, while in fact you were living in the land? Now you are cursed, and some of you shall always be slaves, hewers of wood and drawers of water for the house of my God." And they answered, "Well, we did that because we were told for a certainty that the Lord your God had commanded his servant Moses to give you all the land and destroy the inhabitants of the land. So we are in great fear. And so we did that. And now we are in your hand. Do as it seems good and right in your sight to do to us." And so Joshua did that. He saved them and they were not killed. But he made them to be servants to them. And this is an interesting thing. These were foreigners. And the house of Joshua was warned not to make any treaty with the people of that land that they were conquering. The reason being not that they were wicked, but they didn't worship the same God. And at that time, God was teaching his people to be united in worship of him. So they could not start mixing with people and in immediate danger of losing their faith. And this warning from God is still valid today in 2025. We are not expected to marry people that are unbelievers. The reason being that we have nothing in common with them except that we are all human. So if you marry, you cannot pray together, you cannot have the same vision, you don't have the same weapons concerning evil around you, you don't have anything in common. And so marriage will not be stable. So you see now that these people didn't try to fight Israel, but what they did was to use lying. And this is today happening in and around Israel. The enemies of Israel are using a word that in Arabic means is taquîya, meaning deceit. And the Quran says that deceit is right. It should be used against unbelievers, that is, non-Muslims. These people did exactly that. They just pretended so well that they deceived Joshua and the leaders. Now, next, they are now part of Israel. And the choice is theirs. They have been offered to belong, to integrate, to be part of the people of God. But there is a condition. They are going to serve, so they will not be free to go in and out, as you call it today, taking holidays, going back to their place and then coming back. They are going to be part of Israel, integrated and doing exactly as they do. And if you read the Bible, you see that those that are called foreigners among us are people that are worshipping together with Israel. They are people that listen to Bible reading when it's public. They are part and parcel. And we know that the Gibeonites became fully part of Israel, to the point that one of them became one of the close companions of David when he was in hiding. And they were recorded as building the walls of Jerusalem after the episode of Babylon, together with Nehemiah. So they didn't set themselves apart or continue with their ways or beliefs. They decided to fully integrate. And that is a good example of foreigners within us, those that have accepted to be part and parcel, to contribute to the betterment of the land and join us in our culture.